Hey Joe, how are you feeling and how was the weekend of rest for your knee?
Physically, it was good. Mentally, it was a little weird not being there with everybody. But it was a good little break. Ready to get back at it.
Joe, what do you remember most about the first game against the Raiders when you beat them out there?
Really hard fought game, tough game, physical game. Um, we know that they're going to come in here and bring it just like they did that game. We're going to have to be ready for the physicality.
What about their defense? What comes to mind about their defense that you can use in this playoff matchup?
Very good at limiting the big plays. Really good front. They can get after the passer really well. So we got our work cut out for us.
Joe, along those lines, when you talk Gus Bradley, he's more than just cover three, right? I mean, he throws a lot of defenses out at you on second and long, and especially third down. I'm wondering, when you've gone against that kind of guy, that kind of coordinator once, is that a big help in a situation like this?
Sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. Sometimes they come out and play completely different than they did in the first game, and it can and sometimes they come out and do the exact same thing as they did the first game. So, we'll be ready for anything.
So what do you feel like the biggest difference is with you personally since the time y'all played Vegas?
Just more reps. We're taking care of the ball better. I think we're playing better on offense than we were at that point of the year. So, two different teams than what happened in week 10.
Did you watch Sunday's game between the Chargers and Raiders? And if you didn't, I'm sure at this point you've seen Crosby, I think, pressured Herbert like 8 times. When you see a stat like that, what comes to mind?
He's obviously a great player. He did the same thing to us against us in week 10. So, we're going to have a plan for him. We're going to have to get the ball out quickly and just understand that, time might be limited in the pocket because of those guys they have on that side.
Joe, you've always played your best in the biggest games. Now you get to the playoffs in the NFL. What is it about just the big stage that makes the best come out in you in these games?
I got great people around me, great coaches that prepare me for the moment, and just staying even keeled through the ups and the downs throughout the game. Don't get too excited. Don't get too down on yourself if you make a mistake. Just play this game like you have all year, and we'll get the job done.
Zach said he thought that your playoff experience in college could help you, in playoffs in the NFL. Do you feel like that experience, winning a national championship at LSU, can help you now?
Maybe. I've played in a lot of big games, not just throughout my college career, but this year as well. The last 5 or 6 games for us have been playoff games. So we've got a lot of experience in those kind of situations.
Joe, I talked to a former head coach this week who said, I'm not sure Joe Burrow will let them lose this game. Is there something to that? And to follow up with that, how much of your job is setting that sort of tone, that expectation among your teammates?
Yeah, that's a big part of playing quarterback is understanding the vibe in the locker room, the vibe at practice, and adjusting your leadership and actions accordingly. And then when you get to the game, I've talked about it all year, just being able to adapt the style of quarterback play that you need to. Some games, like against the Raiders last time, you just need to complete balls and move the sticks. It might not be flashy on the stat sheet, but you're going to get the job done. And then some games, like against the Chiefs, you're going to have to go out and win it. So we're capable of doing all those things and winning in a lot of different ways.
And what do you make of the coach's compliment?
It means a lot. I've always prided myself on making plays when the game is down on it, and trying to keep my team in it if we're down, and going out and winning the game if we need to go and seal the deal.
In the offseason, you added the option to be a power run team when you need to be, and you did that against the Raiders the first time. How much is the versatility and the multiplicity of the offense? How has that impacted overall, I guess, how defenses have played you this year?
Yeah, they have to be ready for everything. We got Joe Mixon in that offensive line that can, move people in the run game, and that's a big part of who we are as an offense and as a team. And so teams have to prepare for that, as well as the freak shows that we have on the outside.
Mention the vibe. What's the vibe like right now in the locker room, Joe?
Everyone's excited. You can kind of feel the intensity in the locker room. As soon as you walk in the morning, you got the music playing, guys walking around with a little pep in their steps. So I think our guys are ready to go.
Joe, you mentioned the most important thing in the winning streak was how well you guys have been practicing. And you said, I'm not concerned necessarily about missing the Cleveland game. I'm going to practice all week. I'm going to practice efficiently and hard all week. I mean, what is the key to that? What is the ability for you to sustain that throughout an entire season?
It's kind of people that we have. We have guys that know what it takes to get to where we want to get to, and everyone knows that you can't just let a day go by without getting better. So we have guys that have a great sense of urgency in practice, from the guys that have played every snap on the season to the practice squad guys that give great looks. Our practice squad defensive line really gets after it in practice and gives our guys a great look. So that's the kind of guys that we have on this team.
When you look at your stat line and see 51 sacks, does that surprise you, or do you say, yeah, it kind of feels like that?
Sacks are something that a lot of different people talk about, but there's certain situations where you're fine taking a sack, like a third down when you're not in field goal position, and you're going to try to make a play and try to create the first down. You might take a sack that you might not normally have taken on first and second down. And other situations, you're leading by a lot. You don't want to force a throw, and you don't want to go out and run and risk a fumble. So you got to take a sack sometimes. I'm not too worried about the sack stat. It is what it is, but there's a lot of different things that go into that.
Is there a type of sack that really does get to you, or where you because you said third and short or third down when you're not in field goal range? Also, when you are in field goal range, maybe that one's not as big of a deal because you've already got the 3 points. Is there a point where it just really bugs you when you do take one?
First and second down, those are always critical. If you take a sack and you get behind the sticks, I always try to limit those. And then if you're on fringe field goal range, 30 to 35 yard line, you really can't take a sack, as well as a 2-minute situation. Just depends on the situation.
Joe, I know you're aware of the team history, of the fact that the Bengals haven't won a playoff game in over 30 years, but do you feel that? And does the locker room feel that this week ahead of Saturday's game?
No, we're not worried about that. We're going to go out and execute the way we need to on Sunday to try to get the win.
I have a question about your mindset. Do you look at it as, this is a game where I have something to prove, or do you not think about it overall like that? Like you have maybe some other moments where there's been a chip on your shoulder during your career?
No, I'm not thinking about it like that. I'm thinking about going out and getting the win, whatever it takes. If I throw for 0 yards and we get the win, I'm very, very happy. So whatever it takes this Sunday, we're going to get the job done.
I think after the go ahead.
Can I just follow up on something you said earlier? You referred to your wide receivers as freak shows. Can you explain that? And do you feel like you're playing with the best wide receiver group in the NFL?
I do, yeah. I mean, they're athletic freak shows. I mean, T is big, strong, fast. Jamar never gets tackled. And TB might not be an athletic freak show, but he's a really, really good receiver that gets open when he needs to and understands coverages and being able to get open over the middle. But I think our trio of guys, I'll take every single one of them over anybody in the league.
Joe, after the Vegas game, much was said about your patience. I think the longest completion you had was 17 yards. In the last month, you got a stretch here where you haven't thrown an interception. Well, why do you think that is? Have you become more patient because of games like the Vegas game?
I would say I've just become a more all-around quarterback, understanding whatever the game asks of me to get the job done is what I'm going to go out and do. In that game, it was not forcing the ball, not turning the ball over, and we're going to be able to run the ball and get the win. And in some games, you got to try to force some balls in there to go and score points. But with interceptions, sometimes you got to get a little lucky, and sometimes it's a mix of getting lucky and making good decisions.
Do you anticipate them taking away the long ball like they did that day?
We'll have to see. I think they probably feel like they did a good job of that in the first game. And so, I don't know, we'll have to see what they have for us.
Did your chessboard become a piece of the locker room decor?
Sorry, what'd you say?
I said, how did the chessboard become a piece of the locker room decor?
Oh, that's been there since training camp. You know, I mean, me and Thaddeus started playing, and then, you know, a couple guys have cycled in and out playing some games. It's been a good little locker room camaraderie thing.
I think you said you enjoyed. I think you said you enjoyed watching Queen's Gambit last year. It seems like it's kind of stuck with you. Why have you kind of stuck with chess over this time, and how's that kind of helped you maybe?
I've been playing chess since elementary school. Back in indoor recess days, when it got too cold, we would play chess. So I've been doing that for a long time.
Joe, Cheeto says he's undefeated. Have you gotten close to beating him? And what are those matches like?
I put a little pressure on him the last time we played. We haven't played in a while. We've only played twice. I had to get a little better from the first one, and then started putting a little pressure on him. And I think the next game we have might be a little different.
Going back to the question I asked you about the sacks that bothered you most, if I asked Zach and Brian, I think they might say the one where there's missed assignments and free runners. How much pride do you take in making those guys miss, and how much better do you think you've gotten at that since you've been at this level?
I take a lot of pride in that. You know, you're not gonna be able to pick up every single blitz. You know, defenses in this league are really good and have good looks, but you know, we always talk about it on Wednesdays and Thursdays about, you know, if this team blitzes us, does this, and this, and I always say they still got to tackle me back there. You know, that's my mindset when I get a free runner, and you know, I take a lot of pride in making those guys miss.
2 minutes. Do you look at competing against Gus Bradley as a chess match? I mean, do you look at football and what you have to do at the quarterback position from a mental standpoint, some similarities to chess?
Sometimes. It just depends on the game and the style of game that you're playing in.
Joe, this about the confidence of this team, Joe, over the weekend when he was talking about the good qualities of this team. How important do you think that quality is to this football team this time of year, and how much does confidence start with you as the quarterback?
You know, you always want to be really confident headed into a big game, and I think, you know, we have the guys in that locker room that are really confident in their abilities and their preparation and their hard work to be able to get to this point.
Coach Taylor made it clear this is the 2021 Bengals. Then you guys are going to have your own success and playing these big games on your own. But does the team, or are you aware of, you know, the 3-decade drought of no playoff wins? And can you feel the fans' hungriness, I guess, to finally get over that hump with you guys?
We're aware of it, but we're not really thinking about it. We're a really young team that, you know, Jamar probably didn't know about that until one of you guys told him. Like, we have really young players that, you know, usually aren't from here that, you know, don't really understand the history. So, you know, we're going in with the mindset of doing whatever it takes to win this game, and you know, that's what we're going to go try to do.
Speaking of free runners, did you take a second look at what you did to how you got away from 32, the Chiefs, from the Chiefs?
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool move. I was kind of proud of that one.
What had you? Well, I mean, I guess that was all instinct, right? I mean, did you pull that out of the well, or was that just?
I just go out there and play. You know, I don't really think about what move I'm going to do. I just go out and do it. I don't practice anything like that.
Last question.
Joe, if there's something that you think can enable y'all to make a run in the playoffs this year, what do you think is the biggest reason that's going to be?
You know, we're going to need our defense to play like they have been, and we're going to need our playmakers to go out and make plays in these big games. It's going to, like every playoff game, it's going to come down to the fourth quarter and who makes the most plays in those critical situations.
All right, Joe, thanks for your time. I'll let you go.
Thanks, Joe.